buddies, it's your girl AyChristene, and you guys suggested, no wait, did you guys suggest this or did I just see this? I think this was YouTube suggested. This is a doctor's error almost killed me. I was like, what the heck? This is by MinuteVideos. Link for this video is in the description box below for you to check out. Let's see what happened. Also, in the description box is the link for PAX South. Get your tickets. Me, Hey Charlie, Corey X Kenshin, and Poise are doing a panel January 19th at 7 p.m. In San Antonio, Texas. I think this is the first time I've said the place. I'm sorry I didn't say it before now. So if you live near Texas or you're traveling to PAX South or you're like, hey, I want to see you guys, so I'm definitely going to go, link in the description box below. Now let's get started.
Dear Diary, after 12 silent years, I am finally ready to share with you my difficult diagnosis story.
After 12 years?
The beginning of my diabetic life.
Oh.
I was 10 years old and away on a school
10?
trip when my symptoms quickly started to show.
Oh dear.
I didn't think too much about it at the time, but I became incredibly thirsty and horrendously dehydrated. I needed to pee every 5 minutes. I was lethargic, terribly tired, and was drastically losing weight.
All right, so I was listening to her because since she said she was 10 years old and she said diabetes, I was listening to everything because I'm like, what symptoms do I match? I am thirsty, but I am dehydrated, but that's just because I haven't been drinking a lot of water because having a baby really limits your time to think about yourself. But I do not pee very often, or I don't have to pee very often. I'm not really lethargic. I am tired because, I'm mostly dehydrated and I'm constantly, moving around for the baby and doing YouTube and living life, being married, all sorts of stuff. But I am not losing a lot of weight. I've actually gained weight. I lost the baby weight and then I gained weight. So I think it's safe to say that I'm good. I'm good. All right.
Symptoms are signs of type 1 diabetes, and if left untreated, can cause coma or even death.
Okay, that's so sad. I'm sorry.
When I returned home, my parents knew almost instantly that something wasn't right.
Oh, wow.
They took me straight to the doctors. But unfortunately, my symptoms were mistaken for a virus instead, and I was told to go home and rest. I tried, but I couldn't get a single minute of sleep in because every single part of me was throbbing.
Dear.
I was weak and incredibly tired.
Poor girl.
Overnight, my condition rapidly deteriorated.
Oh, dear.
I remember feeling scared at first, but as time slowly passed, I couldn't think about anything other than the fact that I felt like I was dying.
Oh my gosh.
That's because I was.
Oh my goodness, she was so young.
Over the next few hours, I became violently sick.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
dehydrated and frail.
Dear.
No matter how much water I tried to drink, none of it was staying in my body.
Oh my goodness.
Even now, I can still see the painfully ill little girl slumped over the toilet seat, crying for it all to go away.
Baby girl.
But it didn't go away, and it never will go away.
I'm so sorry.
By now, my mom was in a state of panic. She had that gut-aching motherly instinct that told her something wasn't right. That it was more than just a virus and that her little girl was seriously ill. My mom thought it had to be type 1 diabetes.
Oh, at least she
but our
knew.
family and friends confidently reassured her that she was wrong. That we couldn't have that much bad luck, as my brave mom was fighting cancer at the same time.
Oh, no,
she was
sweetie.
battling for her life while worrying and trying to save mine.
Oh my gosh, my darling.
Now convinced and running out of options, my mom asked our neighbor to come over to the house and test my blood sugar, as her daughter was also a type 1 diabetic.
I
can still see the heartbreak.
How lucky is that? How lucky is that? Because my mindset is take her to the ER, let them know what you think, and then they can test for it. But she has a next door neighbor that she could reach out to that has a situation similar to what she's suspecting. So she had the tools next door to kind of zero in on this. That's really good. That's really lucky.
And horror on my mother's face when she read the results. My blood sugar was so high, the meter couldn't even read it.
Oh, wow.
A non-diabetic's blood sugar should be between 4 to 8 millimoles. Mine was higher than 40. My mom ran to the phone and called the hospital begging for someone to help. The nurse on the phone told her we didn't have time to wait for an ambulance anymore. We needed to get to the hospital immediately and I needed to be kept awake. By now, I was drifting in and out of consciousness and my haze memory only let me recall certain moments of that terrifying car journey.
Okay. My little girl.
When we got to the emergency room, my mom flung out of the car, scooped me up in her arms, and ran towards the door.
Okay.
I remember her screaming for help while a sea of people rushed towards me.
Oh my goodness.
A man with a broken leg who was sitting in his wheelchair instantly lifted himself out so that my mother could place me down.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I was rushed into the emergency room and placed on a bed.
Okay.
I remember trying to find the strength to cry, to ask, what is wrong with me?
Poor girl.
To ask if I was gonna die. But I couldn't even do that.
Oh no.
Within minutes, doctors began inserting tubes, wires, needles, and hooking me onto machines.
Yikes.
Dozens of doctors, consultants,
that's
and
not
nurses were huddled at my bedside with machines screaming in my ears. At 10 years old, I knew that I was in trouble, and I was terrified.
Dear.
The doctors explained that my blood sugar and ketone levels were too high to read.
Yikes.
And this is where it gets scary.
Okay.
I was in the late stages of diabetic ketoacidosis,
What is-
DKA for short,
Oh, your
a
blood?
life-threatening complication for type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
DKA occurs when there is not enough insulin in the body,
Yeah.
which is produced by the pancreas and causes your blood to turn acidic
Very
and
acidic.
therefore poisonous.
Yeah,
When
that's
this
something that you have to worry about. There's even like a medication that you can take that you have to also, it's a diabetic medication that you have to be careful because it can have the same effect as well. It sucks that some medication that you take to avoid something can sometimes as a side effect lead you to that. But that's how I know about the acidosis, because of this medication, metformin, that is a diabetic medication that you have to be careful because you can get blood acidosis. It's crazy.
Happens, an immense strain is put on your body's organs. Your heart, lungs, and kidney can all fail, which was what was happening to me.
Dear
You
sweet.
can fall into a coma, and death can be a very realistic outcome.
Oh my goodness.
The ER doctors were able to stabilize me and transfer
Okay,
me
that's
to a
good.
children's intensive care unit where my dad asked the doctors, "Is my little girl going to be okay?"
Oh,
Their reply was, "Sir, I can't tell you that.
Oh,
Your
no.
daughter is in critical condition and the next 24 hours will be crucial."
And if that other
When I look
doctor
back on that
frickin'
day,
figured it out,
I feel sad. But more than anything,
worked
sad
it
for my
out.
parents.
Yeah.
I cannot even imagine how they felt being told that their little girl might not make it through the night. For any parent,
Yes,
it's
well,
something you
that
never
feeling,
want to
Jesus.
experience for
Yeah.
yours or anyone else's young child. Seeing the sheer pain embedded in my mom's face is something I find difficult to erase. It's something I'm
goodness.
going to carry with me forever.
Dear.
The rest of that night was a blur. A painful, emotional blur.
oh no.
When I woke up,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I was living what seemed at the time a terrifying nightmare.
Oh dear.
One that you couldn't escape or run from. It was a nightmare in a constant loop, and I was in the middle of it all. It was overwhelmingly real and intense. But as the days went on, slowly, I regained my strength.
That's good.
Before I was released from the hospital, the nurse told my mom that I'd need injections for the rest of my life.
Oh,
It's a
insulin.
burden that comes with every type 1 diabetic.
Yeah.
We live in the constant pattern of insulin injections, carefully managed diets, and constant monitoring of daily blood glucose tests. No matter how hard we maintain a healthy lifestyle
Yeah,
or
you always
exercise,
have to
it will
test.
never go away.
And you always
I
have
am
to
reminded
remind.
of this nearly 10 times a day when I'd look down at my pin-pricked finger and stare into a machine to tell me if I'd need to inject myself.
Yeah.
I've struggled my entire life to accept this lifelong condition.
sorry,
I
sorry.
carried the weight of the world on my shoulder, but now, after years of anger, hurt, and shame, I've learned to be proud of every bit of who I am.
That's good.
I am a fighter, and nearly 12 years later, I feel stronger than ever.
That's good.
I am here, I am alive. And although I have a
Amen.
condition that will never go away,
No.
it's okay. I am okay.
That's
I'm not
good.
ashamed or embarrassed to shout out from the rooftops about my condition,
Mm-hmm.
because I won't let it take any part of me away again. I am
Is that the
brave,
sign for type 1
resilient,
diabetes?
and unstoppable. And if you think type 1 diabetes or any other disease is ever going to hold
like
you
her
back,
swinging it around.
my God, are you wrong?
Wow. Wow. I think the thing that sucks is the fact that that other doctor could have caught it if he did better. You know, like, it's tough. I know it's tough to be. That was kind of me. That was mean. I'm sorry. I take that back. I take that back. It's tough being a doctor. I've been to the ER many times, and I'm not going to say many times. I've been to the ER a few times within the past few years, and it's tough when you've got a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes you see a lot of patients. I've been in the ER like where I've been waiting in the lobby because I wasn't dire at the time. I'm waiting in the lobby for like half a day. And then I finally get back there where they can do their tests and see what's wrong. So I know that they've got a lot on their plates. The goal of the ER is just to stabilize and send you on your way, because in every diagnosis they tell you, go check with your doctor, because you want to follow up with your actual doctor so that they can do better tests to better pinpoint what is wrong or whatever, or follow up or tell you how to continue your care. I know it's tough for ER doctors to really know exactly what's wrong with you, and they've got a plethora of things that they've got to test and hopefully get answers back quickly so that way they can get you out and help the next person, because the ER is mostly full, during the day at 2 a.m. Well, depending on where you're at. I'm not gonna, I don't know why I said that. Anyways, it's tough. So the first doctor though, if they went to a regular doctor, it's tough there too, because if they're waiting for blood work to come back to confirm something, if they don't have a faster way to confirm it, then there's still that, that point of not knowing, and this situation still would have happened. Even if they're like, hey, we think you've got a virus, but we'll do tests to get more information. And if they don't get that blood work quickly, because in an ER situation, you get the blood work a lot quicker because it's emergency. But in a regular doctor's office, you might not get the blood work right away. So I take it back about what I said about her doctor. Her doctor could have done the best that they could at the time. And, even though that situation would have cost her life, the doctor probably did the best that they could. One thing I will tell you, if you do suspect that certain things or particular things are wrong with you, don't hold that back as a secret. One thing that I used to do is when I was sick, if I thought it was one thing, I wouldn't say anything about it. I would just mention my symptoms, and I was like, well, the doctors know what they're doing. They'll do their tests and they'll find out what's wrong. The issue with that is that they're human. So your symptoms might match a certain thing that they went to school for and know, whereas you're thinking, hey, it's A, and they're like, it's B because the symptoms match B, but they're not testing for A because they think it's B. If you think it's A, tell them that so they can test for it, and that way you can be sure, because it's better to be like, hey, a doctor be like, hey, you know what, I don't think it's that, but I'm going to test for that and find out whether it is that, and finding out that it's not, versus not saying anything. You have A, you got to stick with A, and then searching for B. So keep that in mind. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you have a similar story? Did something like that happen? Let me know your thoughts. If you like the video, check out the link in the description box below to support. I think it's MinuteVideos is what the name of this channel is. If you like this video, hug the like button. I love you guys as always. And until next time, buddies. Toodles.